So I wanted to continue on just talking about feeling difficult emotions, feeling through them, becoming more intimate with them, not feeling as freaked out by them when they arise, when anxiety, when fear, when doubt, when guilt, shame, all these emotions that we do not usually want to deal with. If we allow ourselves to start dealing with them and interacting with them in a more intimate, open way, even if that means perhaps yelling at them or questioning them harshly, or just being very frank with them, or, obviously loving them more actually, and really getting to know them, just showing compassion towards them, however we want to do it. When we start exploring these, emotions or feelings that we usually run away from, things change, So yeah, I'm going to link above too to a video I did a couple months ago, just talking about embracing feeling like shit. Because if you haven't seen it, it's probably going to be helpful. In a lot of New Thought teachings, they talk about like essentially like the human mind, the carnal mind, right? And then like the godly mind, the divine mind. That's a good metaphor. It's what I view most of these, when LOA stuff uses spiritual concepts, I usually, spiritual language like that, I usually view it metaphorically. I'm not like, oh, there's actually a cardinal mind and a divine mind. And, the way I interpret that, the way I usually look at that is like our carnal mind, our human mind is like, oh my God, I feel fear. I feel jealousy. I feel shame. I feel paranoia. I feel all this terrible stuff. And the divine mind, God, is just like, I'm here. Everything's perfect. You feel fear. And you put your hand over your heart, or where you really feel it physically in the body, or you feel shame or jealousy or whatever it is. You feel that. You put your hand where it's manifesting in the body. And the divine mind is saying everything's fine. Everything's always perfect. This moment right now, no matter what physically we're going through, no matter how much pain we might be in, as crappy as we feel, everything's fine. And we can breathe into that from that divine mind space. Again, I mean this metaphorically. I don't mean this literally. As I said, I view most of these ideas metaphorically when it comes to LOA, law of assumption, manifesting stuff, if they're using spiritual language. I find that very helpful. If I interpret them literally, I'm fucking myself over, in my opinion. But if I interpret them metaphorically, they're very helpful. And then I recognize the perfection of right now with the divine mind. And that pain, that subjective, personal, carnal thinking about my fear, my shame, my paranoia, whatever, your relationship totally changes when you view it from the divine mind. And how do we connect with the divine mind? We just get present right now. Right now in the moment. Which is something I talk about all the time in the podcast. In which obviously you can do in so many different ways. Become present. You can do it through being very active, through affirmation, through prayer, or through silence, whatever the heck you want to do. There's so many ways, countless ways to become present right now. But when we become present right now, when we connect with what we always are, which is always now, no future, no past, but right now, which is God, if you want to use spiritual language, which is the divine mind. And then you tap into that perceived fear or shame or guilt. It's a different experience. this is not something we just do once. We can just do it once and see the benefits of it, but this is something we can do constantly and make a practice of doing daily, multiple times a day, or whenever we like. You know, in the Bible, they talk about the peace that passeth understanding. That's the divine mind. And that's right now, in my opinion, right now. When I talk about, like in the law of attraction simplified, feel good, not bad, I don't mean that simplistically. I mean it that we can feel bad physically. Our carnal mind, our subjective, our personal feelings feel bad. But we can feel good right now by recognizing the divineness, the divine mind in this moment. And we come back to this again and again because it feels good. And also, practically speaking, in terms of improving our life, it makes us more patient. And patience is a virtue. Allow these difficult feelings to be there, the fear to be there, for instance. Sometimes it's going to be there constantly for days, perhaps even weeks. But if you feel into it in this way regularly, if you stay with it, if you befriend it, if you embrace it instead of running away terrified from it, it's going to shift. You're in all likelihood going to come out better on the other side because you've learned something from the experience physically, mentally, holistically, with your whole mind and body. But as we always like to remind ourselves when we get real, right now is right now, and that's enough. That's what's important to recognize, and we can recognize it again and again for the sake of recognizing it again and again. I hope this was helpful.